A number of years ago, I was invited to participate in an interesting project that was also an example of a creative collaboration. A friend of mine, Rick Smolin, started a book project bringing together a number of well-known photographers to photograph the same country on the same day. It became known as A Day in the Life of. We did A Day in the Life of America, which was a big success. And then the Chinese government gave permission for these photographers to go to China. And I was asked which place I would like to photograph. And I said, please send me to Guilin, to the famous karst mountains along the Li River, which I'd seen celebrated in paintings for many, many years. So I went to Guilin, and here I'm taking this picture as we're landing. It's misty, and I was very excited. But I wasn't so excited by the weather. The problem was that if you get only one day to shoot, the weather has to be just right. And it was just raining. And I couldn't find anything that matched my original interest in those mountains. I'd seen too many fantastic paintings, like we all suffer from when we've seen too many good photographs of places we visit one day and the weather isn't quite right. So I was seeing this, but I was remembering this. So I was frustrated. I did not quite know what to do. When I stood there at that bend in the Li River, and then I spotted some students who were painting that famous landscape. And they were able to turn my mind around from what I had in my head as an original conception of what I could do there to seeing something else. I became fascinated by what they were doing. They were visiting from Beijing with their teacher at this spot that has been painted so many times, and I thought, this is the image. So I found the teacher and asked if he would be interested in gathering his students for a portrait, and he was happy to oblige. I found a stepladder so I could stand above them, and I added a fill flash because it was a gloomy day, and I made this image. And I'm still struck when I look at this, just how perfectly this sums up the idea of creative collaborations. These students are all inspired by these same paintings. This is part of Chinese history. They all go there with these same preconceptions, and yet they all end up doing something different. And that is really what I inspire you to do as well. Step into this fantastic tradition of nature and wildlife photography, which really hasn't been in existence for as long as painting in China. Only a couple of decades. Let yourself be inspired by all these photographers as much as you can be inspired by the natural world itself, and then come up with your own expression. And I'm convinced that each of you will be able to do something that is just a bit different from what anyone else might do. And together, this is the grand experiment of collaborating creatively for the purpose of celebrating our Earth.